The Trayvon Martin tragedy became the focal point of observation, discussion, conflict, strife, discussion, evaluation for much of this country. A person who was both white and Hispanic killed an African American young man in a senseless and an unnecessary way. That doesn't mean that he didn't do so out of self-defense. It was that the whole episode didn't have to happen. That's the tragedy of it. Both the young man and the victim and the perpetrator erred in a lot of different things and cost the victim his life, which is a tragedy. But I don't want to discuss the verdict, and I don't want to discuss rioting, and I don't want to discuss how bad things are that people don't see, what should be obvious. I don't want to discuss any of that. I want to discuss the concept of justice for Trayvon. And I think that the focus is totally wrong. Trayvon Martin is a symbol of a lot of things that are wrong in this society. But it isn't racism. That may be part of it. But being a Jew was called a kike, being beaten up because I was Jewish and a target by various groups. While I was growing up, I was not very I was athletic, but I wasn't strong, couldn't fight, a lot of times was beaten up. Somebody pulled a knife on me. Somehow or other I survived. But I understand persecution to a certain degree. That's not the problem. The persecution is what makes people stronger. It isn't the persecution. And it isn't about justice for Trayvon. The placard should be hope for Trayvon. Hope and change, the very symbols, the very epithet of the Obama campaign. Hope and change. There's got to be change, but the change is not socialism. There's a lot of black on black crime that doesn't get noticed at all. Cities like Chicago and Detroit, Washington, D.C., inner cities all over the country have got a tremendous amount of violence, which has nothing to do with race, but has everything to do with a system gone wrong, with a liberal mindset that is permissive and allows everything to happen and expects other people to pay for it. We lack resolve to take things in our own hands and to do things for ourselves. And it isn't the fault of the youth, essentially, because it's the philosophy that surrounds these youth that has allowed them to be who they are today. When you tell people that you have low expectations, that the only thing you can do is to get a handout from the government, and that person doesn't have very much self-esteem, does he? When 70% of the children are born out of wedlock, there isn't much of a male leader or role player, role model that's responsible. Teaches kids right from wrong. When you have an education system in Detroit that graduates 25% of high school kids, and those who do graduate have problems reading. Rachel Gentile is not atypical. She's sad. She's a wonderful person. But she couldn't read cursive. How many people can read cursive if they don't teach it properly? Well, it gets taught, but that's the problem. We get all these problems. 25%? Are you crazy? There's some kids in Harlem decided they liked chess, and they became the chess champions of this country. Where there's been a will to succeed, they've succeeded. There's no reason why they can't succeed. There's no reason why they couldn't be as many as high a percentage in Detroit of graduating high school seniors going to college, like they do in Farmington Hills where I live, or West Bloomfield. There's no reason for that. It's bad expectation and a system that's got to change. 70% of black parents in Detroit want charter schools. They want vouchers so that they can send their kids to Catholic schools, even though they're not Catholic, because their kids will get a better education for less money. That's the dirty little secret. It isn't the money that's missing. It's the resolve. It's the focus on teaching kids skills. It's the determination not to let kids get away with it and to demand excellence from them. And if a kid can't read and a kid can't do anything, why keep him in school? Why not teach him a trade? And that gets me to my next point. We have a whole penal system that's got to be overhauled. I go visit the jails. It's sad. Such a waste of humanity. What do you teach those kids in jail? Well, they learn that crime doesn't pay. Really? What happens the night after they leave? What can they do to earn a living so they don't go back to jail? There's nothing in jail that teaches them how to earn a living. The whole penal system, except for the extremely violent, incorrigible people, should not be for regular folks. White folks, black folks, yellow folks, Hispanic folks shouldn't be in jail unless they're killers, dangerous to people. So what I do with them, I put them all in boot camps, teach them how to be electricians and plumbers, bricklayers, teach them a trade, teach them how to earn a living. And if you're good at it and you're diligent at it, get out of boot camp early so you can start a job and start a family. That's what needs to be done. We've got to change the way we do things and give hope to the Trayvons of this country and to the Trayvons of the world. Instead of going ahead and trying to attack other people who may or may not be bigoted, it's irrelevant. We have to change our expectations and the permissiveness that allows black on black crime not to be noticed, that allows children not to become educated, that allows teachers and teacher unions to dictate policies when they're failing, and a penal system that has to be overhauled. That's what has to happen. And then, not only will we get justice for Trayvon, we'll get real change. May God bless everyone with peace and harmony as we come into the 9th day of Av, which commemorates the destruction of the temple that came because of hatred. We have to stop hating. We have to stop looking for excuses in other people. We have to look into ourselves and become better people ourselves. And as such, we have to be willing to make the changes necessary to allow not just for ourselves to become better, for our children and our society to become better. And hopefully that will help usher in the new era of the Messiah and the rebuilding of our holy temple for the whole world. Amen.